Cool. Hey there, Try. I am wanting to share this little video. I was with one of my clients yesterday. Darren, thank you. It was a pleasure to be back working with you. And I wanted to share for you guys some mobility onto the shoulders, and which will help reduce any tension in and around the upper traps, the sternocleidomastoid, or through our SCM muscle, our big neck muscle, and also to help eliminate this rounding of the shoulders or excessive rounding of the shoulders. So the first one I wanted to start with, and Darren, we didn't do this one yesterday, is working with the rotational movement of the shoulder. Now with this one, you can use anything. I'm just using this ball. You might want to use an egg. That might be a good way to do it. But we want to try and create this fluidity in the shoulder joint. So if your shoulders get really tight and locked up, this is a really nice one to work with. So we're trying to keep the ball upright. I'm not holding onto the ball, right? So I have my palm relatively flat and I'm just bringing the ball in and around. Oh, see what Lily's trying to do here. And bring it, and I'm still not holding on to that ball. I come up and around and I'm working for about 3 of these to start. So from the side, I'm pulling in, sweeping around, and then I'm using my body here also to find this movement up and around. So it's not just the shoulder here, so there's a full body movement that is going on to come up and around to create this fluidity into the shoulder joint. Now, I've just lost that. Now you can, here I have a spare one here in the pot plant. Then we're going to move to the other side. Hey, it's not yours. So as you come around, go in, sweep around. Keep that ball in the palm of your hand and take the time to keep that ball in the palm of your hand without catching onto that. So try for 3, one direction, and then if you're feeling playful, take it back the other way, right? So we've got to reverse the movement. So I've just done 3 one way. If you're following along, then this will be in real time. So a great one to play with that mobility of the shoulder. Just do your best. So we're going to take that other one back the other way as well, being that we didn't do that on the other side. Go really slow. Us human beings are very, very good at moving fast. So take the time out to feel here. Allow ourselves to be really connected with the movement of the shoulder here. Really watch that ball almost as you move in and around. Lovely. Cool. So just practice those. Doesn't matter what happened there, all right? So just feel into that. This next one, what we're going to work on is working on the rotator joint, okay? So we're working into sort of the back, into the subscap, but we're also working the rotator cuff action here and the muscles around that area. What we want to do here is come down to the ground. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. So you can either come to a seat like this, you can sit on your knee. However we're working is we're playing with an angle here. So to start off with, what we want to, well, that didn't sound good. What we want to play with here is firstly working onto about this 90-degree angle to start with, right? So we're opening up through here. All right, now if your shoulders are tight, this is going to be more than enough for you. You'll see that I'm just holding onto a ball. A 1 kilo weight, 2 kilos max is more than enough for this exercise. You do not want to go heavy. So if you have a little bit more shoulder mobility, what you will find is that you can then start to bring that knee open a little bit more and open. And then some people are able to even get their knee right all the way back and fully open. That's definitely not me. So I'm about here with that one a little bit wider than 90 degrees and working through, you're just going to that point of compression, to the point where you can feel it, okay? So as we're working through this movement, really start to take your time. So we're going to go for 10 of these and lift up and then come back down. So lifting up, and I'm going to stick with this video in real time with you all. So it's not about how heavy we're lifting here. We're going to that point where we stop and then come back down. I have to correct myself, sorry. I just mentioned compression. So what I mean, sorry, but instead of mentioning compression, I mean we're getting to that place of tension. When I'm getting here, if I'm experiencing a tightness, generally, for most of us, it's going to be because we're very, very tight across the back of the shoulders, or they're constantly overworked. So we're going to experience what's called tension, my bad there, on what we're feeling into the back of the shoulder here. So for many of us, it's quite challenging, change sides, to open our shoulders because we're constantly on our phones, or we're stressed, or fear will bring our shoulders in and we start to hunch. So find where that is for you, either 90 degrees, just to there is fine, or a little bit wider. And then we start to lift up for 10. Now what's also happening here, if you drive that knee down, you're going to start to open into the groin and the hips as well. So you're getting more bang for your buck here. This stuff's not super pleasant, and hence why I'm doing it for you guys in real time, so that you can just follow along and get the shit done. Right, it's super important. You may notice that one side is tighter than another, which is very natural to happen, especially when we're in a Western world where we tend to try not to use, or we just forget about using our other side. Good. Alrighty, the last one in this sequence, and I don't have a piece of dowel with me. We used a broomstick yesterday. What I'm looking for is this, okay? So I'm looking for the wrists and the elbows and the shoulders to be in one line. I'm not out like that, okay? That is really, really important cue. We want to be directly in line here. We want to try and keep really straight arms. That is the key. If your arms are bending, then we want to try to come back to that cue of straight arms. You'll lie down onto the ground, and again, the cues here are really important. The toes untuck, we keep the belly engaged, and we press the pelvic bone down slightly. The arms go out in front, so whether or not you're holding onto a piece of dowel is perfect. But for now, I'm just using a band, but I'm not pulling it apart. My wrists, my elbows, my shoulders are in alignment here. My forehead is going to go down, and it's going to stay there, all right? And it's not about how high I can lift this stick or band up. It is about keeping straight arms and working now again to that point where I feel everything pause. It's that first point of sensation. We're going to go for 10. Forward down, feet down. Press the pelvic bone down into the ground. We lift up for 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry if that's not lifting very high. 5, it's not about that. 6, try to keep the arms straight. 7, 8, 9. We're going to hold this one up for 10. Hold it there, chin tucked in, forward on the ground, arms are straight. 3, 2, 1. Relax, breathe. We're going to repeat that. So again, I'm only going to take you through 2 rounds. I definitely recommend 3 rounds if you can. However, it's up to you. So we're not going to do this one again, but we are going to work into the rotator cuff. So grabbing your 1 kilo weight or a ball is perfect. So something you can hold on to. Finding the opening into the hip that suits you. Press that knee down for extra mobility into the hips, and we lift up for 1, 2, 3. You might find in this second round you might have a little bit more space. 5. Great one for strengthening all the muscles around the shoulder. 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to hold this one here now. Really press, so really bring that back to that point of sensation where you can't go anymore. 3, 2, and 1. Oh. So this mobility stuff, as I said it before, it's not fun, but it is so, so important. We find that space, elbow on the inside of the knee, and you start to open up. We just get so complacent. We get in such a phase of doing that we forget to look after our bodies, right? And this stuff is the oiling of the car. This is putting fuel in your vehicle, right? This is helping ourselves be supple, let go of rigidity, and start to give back to ourselves. You can go and do all the gym classes you want, but if you're not looking after yourself, if you're just constantly thrashing your body, you're going to break. And then when you break, you can't do anything. It doesn't feel good. Lift up and hold. And that's when we look at things and go, God, fuck, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done the work. I wish I'd looked after myself a little bit more. I wish I looked after my spine or my shoulders. And this is the stuff that does that. 3, 2, 1. Bring that down. Grab the whatever you've got straight out in front. Arms are straight. Toes tucked under. They're coming onto the tops of the toes. Pelvic bone tucked under. Forehead on the ground. Lift up for 1, 2, 3, try to keep your arms straight, that's key here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we lift up and we hold. And release. I'm going to leave that there. If you have time to do 3 rounds, please do that. If you have the time, you can use, I know most of you have blocks, so I'm going to do this on a block. This is for every single person in the Western world needs to do this every day nearly. That block goes across where the sort of scapula is, directly opposite your sternum, right? You can use a bolster if you've got a bolster, the block's fine. Grab a cushion. If you're tight in this area, what's going to happen is you're going to have issues putting the head down on the ground. So your head must rest on something, okay? So grab a cushion and let yourself open up through the space of the heart. Bring the soles of the feet together if that works for you. If that's too intense, then let the feet be long. Now we're going to just pause here. So with the soles of the feet together, let yourself melt over the brick or whatever you found. Let everything be soft, Lily. Hey. I think that poor ball is done. She's having a good time chewing it up. I'm just going to stay here for 5 more breaths, but this, I totally recommend taking this as a yin pose every single night. It is not often we allow ourselves to be completely vulnerable and open our heart, but let those shoulder blades soften down. They can take so much work. We are constantly leaning forward, like with our phones, when we drive, and as I mentioned, when we go into fear, we close up. So as you come into this space, let your breath be open and full and fully exposed. Take 1 more breath in. And open the mouth and let it go. To come out of this one, wherever your head is, catch your head with your hands. Gently bring that up so you're supporting. Turn on the muscles in your neck and your traps and just move to your side. Come up onto your knees And we're just going to finish with a little bit of soft or shoulder softening. So learn this from my movement teachers, and this is such a beautiful way. When we're rigid, we tend to tense up the traps here. So I want you to think this softness with the shoulder. And you can do this standing or seated, but you'll notice I'm not doing this, and this is what tends to happen. If we're really tight, we're going to lock up the muscles in the traps. And I'm just starting to flow my shoulder forward and back. Create a little bit of movement and softness here. There's absolutely no tension here. I'm really trying to be soft. And then take that to the other side. And a great way to do this is to look in a mirror and notice if you're doing this, starting to engage the trap muscles. And how can you just isolate and soften the shoulder? Simon Thakur that taught this movement to myself and many others. He's been around a hell of a long time, to be honest. But when we move with compassion around the joints and softness, what we're actually doing is neuromuscularly, we're sending this signal from our brain to our bodies to soften, to be compassionate rather than rigid. So if we're finding areas that are stuck, as in injury or tightness or like angry, and if we get more angry with that, or we don't move it, it's going to get more rigid. So we want to be soft through the joint. So if we've got a shoulder injury, we want to be really nurturing through that. And when we move with a sense of nurture and compassion, that energy is what actually gets transferred into the area. And this isn't just bullshit woo-woo stuff. Daniel Siegel talks about it in his book Mindsight. PhD, he's also a psychologist. Fascinating man. The book is phenomenal. It's called Mindsight and it's called Neural Mapping. We can send an energy and intention to an area to let it heal and soften. So that's your shoulder mobility. As I said to all of you guys, my clients in the Move with Meg group, this stuff like 2 to 3 times a week, at least 2 or 3 times through. They'll take you 10 minutes to move through what we just did there. If you are looking for better longevity, you are looking to help your body move with less rigidity and be a little bit more supple, then take the time out and spend time giving back to you. Namaste.